becomes special because there's a very special presence of Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudeva ji. Usually when we hear Sadhguru and we do not really have the implications of what lies in store for us with this address of Sadhguru. Here we have, if I use the word gentleman, who explored the truth within and was compelled by the power of truth to share it, became Isha Foundation into being, which has been a residence for many of the souls that were seeking solace. What else lies with Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudeva ji? What else lies with Isha Foundation? Let's find out. I have the pleasure of welcoming Sadhguru ji to our studio. Welcome. How are you today?
Tell me, you should tell me how I am.
I saw you somewhere laughing and I found that laughter was so beautiful. And let's begin by asking, what is it that makes one person's laughter more beautiful than another?
It is not really a question of one person's laughter being more beautiful than somebody else's laughter. It is just that most people never get to do anything totally. Neither their laughter is complete, nor their tears are complete, nor anything in their life is complete, because everything is done held back. When a person does everything with a certain sense of abandon, everything that he does is beautiful, not just laughter.
The kind of people that we are, we take questions from whatever is said. So, when you say that people are holding back, they don't do anything why that kind of habit becomes a part of people's lives?
See, the most dominant aspect for most human beings today is security. Their life is not about seeking truth or joy or love. They're fundamentally seeking security. If they are going after a profession, most of them are going after a profession because that means security. If they're setting up a family, they're setting up a family mainly because that's another kind of security, emotional security. If they're going to the temple or church or wherever, they're running after God, that is also security. This is the reason why over 90% of the world's prayers are all about give me this, give me that, or protect me. So the most dominant factor in people, most people unfortunately, is security, or their whole life energies are focused towards only their survival, nothing else. When you're too security conscious, naturally you cannot live with abandon. In everything you're held back. So when you laugh, it doesn't go deep enough into you. When you laugh, it doesn't go deep enough into you. Even when you weep, it doesn't go deep enough into you. Because everything you do held back. When you're security conscious, everything is held back.
Now, security consciousness becomes a mode of identifying oneself and finding a place in the society, and we extend the security emotionally, financially, bank balance. All these things are a part and parcel or a package of someone's personality as he's perceived by the society most of the time. Now, when you are growing up, these are the kind of ideas that are coming to you from your parents, from your friends, from your relatives, everybody around you. So, to be able to go beyond this security concern, okay, with this laughter, let's have what your response is.
Security has become such a big concern, mainly because people are identified with things which they are not. You get identified with little things which you are not, and you always live with the fear that you may lose it. About people influencing you, parents, teachers, friends. families in which we grow up, yes, those influences are always there, but still Creator gave you brains to think beyond that. Only when your intelligence is unentangled with the situations in which you live, that something bigger than you can happen within you. I would say, if you're completely disentangled from everything outside of you, in 24 hours you will be in a samadhi state. That's all it takes. If you know how to disentangle your intelligence from all the things that you're identified with, just in 24 hours' time one can attain. It doesn't take that long, I'm just trying to make it practical for you.
This sounds beautiful and it sounds promising, and before I talk to you more on it, I want to share with viewers about there have been some sacred tools for self-transformation that have been presented by Isha Foundation that have come up in the form of some books. There is one book called Dhyana Linga, The Silent Revolution. There's one book called Encounter, The Enlightened Conversation with the Master. There's one, Eternal Echoes, The Sacred Sounds Through the Mystic. All these books I haven't read, but they look promising. Whatever is coming from Isha Foundation have some kind of an artistic touch to it. Are you an artist at heart? What do you consider yourself to be when you look in the mirror? Who is Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudeva?
I don't get to see myself in the mirror too often. Not a pretty face. So, it's just that see, it's every human being's business to do whatever they do, to do it as beautifully as they can. How much you do has become the norm of the day, not how you do. So when you're on a spiritual path, that is one thing that we insist for the people who are on the spiritual path, people who are take the spiritual path in Isha. One basic concern for them is that they have to do and care, and it's not just about doing so much, it's about how you do it. That's been the very nature of our programs also. That's the reason why we don't make these programs happen in a mass scale, because then how we do it cannot be done on a very large scale. It's done… When we conduct programs, I want people to do it in such a way that they're going to do in their life. So it's the most important thing. So every little activity, it is that attitude that it's done. Even if you see the way Isha is constructed, the buildings, you will see every bit of it is new. New means it's freshly thought, it doesn't ascribe to any particular norm of construction. Some of the buildings like the Dhyanalingam dome, it's the only one of its kind in the world. It's a unique technology. It's a 76 feet diameter dome, an elliptical dome. No cement, no steel, no concrete, no supports, just with brick and mud it is standing. The simple technology is all the bricks are trying to fall down at the same time, they can never fall. It's the only dome like that in the world. So everything that's done is done with care, because that's what spirituality means. So you will see the ancient temples, the way they're built in India. It's built like that because people put their lives into it. Temples lived in a hut, but they built such a grand temple. Unbelievable temples have been built. They're such engineering marvels and artistic marvels. But the people who constructed them, they lived in huts, because how they did what they did was so important for them. So we're trying to do our best.
That's really encouraging, and when I hear all these things, I see there is a perception which is fresh, and you are not holding that just for yourself, you are sharing it with others also, and there are many programs which are being conducted by Isha Foundation. Are there some regular programs which are conducted at the center, which is somewhere in the Kerala somewhere? Isha Foundation, your main
United States?
No, the main center that… Coimbatore.
Tamil Nadu.
Okay. So this Dhyanalingam that you mentioned about is in Coimbatore?
Yes, it's a multi-religious temple. People from all religious walks, groups come here. It's a temple without rituals, without offerings. It's in total silence. And this is only purely for meditation. There are no rituals or offerings or pujas in these temples. It's… the energy situation is made in such a way, even if a person doesn't know anything about meditation, if he just sits there for a few minutes, he will become meditative. It's like a natural initiation process without instruction. Energy-wise, they're initiated into meditativeness. It's a very powerful experience, but it does not ascribe to any particular belief system. This is the very peak, or which is the very essence of yoga, of the yogic science. Just transforming yogic science into an energy form and presenting it in the form of a Dhyanalinga. It's a very powerful experience that one should experience. It's drawing over 100,000 people per month.
Beautiful. As I am addressing you, Sadhguruji, and then I think about the moment when you became meditative to the extent that the inner self was revealed. Was there any guru there? How that moment came into your life?
I really have no particular guru in this life. I've been practicing yoga since I was 12 years of age. But that yoga I learnt mainly mental well-being. Spirituality and me were worlds apart. That's the last thing in my mind. I am somebody who's grown up very much being influenced by European philosophers. Being late 60s and early 70s when I'm growing up, the Beatles, the Blue Jeans, that's the kind of influence that I've grown up in. So, traditional spirituality and me are like far apart, and I'm a skeptic. Last person to turn spiritual. But one afternoon it so happened when I come from Mysore. So there's a small hill near Mysore called Chamundi. I happened to be sitting on a rock around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And till that moment I always thought, this is me. But suddenly I did not know which is me and which is not me. What I experienced as myself was so enormous, spread all over the place. The rock on which I sat, the air I breathe, the atmosphere around me, everything has become me. The more I talk about it, the more insane and absurd it'll sound to anybody. But I thought this experience lasted just for about 5-10 minutes, but when I came back to my normal consciousness, it was about 7:30 in the evening. About 4.5 hours had passed. I was drenched in a different kind of ecstasy. I've always been a peaceful and joyful person. I had my way with life, so I was happy.
Yeah, sorry.
But this is something else, a different kind of blissfulness has just overtaken me. I could not understand what's happening to me. When I asked my logical mind, what is this? My logical mind could only say, maybe I'm losing my balance. This started repeating itself in about 6 to 8 weeks' time. It became like a living experience. That's when people started coming to me, they said, oh, he's in samadhi. I sit in one place and I just think it's 2 minutes, hours have passed. I just sit there, I'm fully aware, fully conscious. It's just that what I consider as myself is missing, everything else is there. With this, so many things changed. In about 6 to 8 weeks, everything about me changed dramatically. That's when I started looking. That's when I started meeting people who are on the spiritual path and trying to understand what's happening to me. So, the Isha Foundation is just an effort to share that blissfulness with people, to somehow rub off this blissfulness on people.
It's so beautiful to listen to this experience, and even an iota of that experience, if translated into someone who listens to this, also puts them on a different level of consciousness.
Now we have a clear science. step-by-step science as how everybody can get to a state like that. That's the yoga, that it creates a scientific way for a person to attain to that ecstasy within himself.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the steps that has been formulated when you say to
So we are basically offering a basic program called Isha Yoga, which is 7 days intensive here, which includes 2 full days and 7 evenings and 2 full days. Different places definitely have different influences, but the whole science of yoga is just that, to go beyond the external influences. Fundamentally, I am offering this science to people as a way of becoming a masters of their own destiny. So what vibrations are around you, what kind of people are around you, what traditions you come from is immaterial. If you are willing to do certain things with yourself, you can become a master of your own destiny. So we are doing programs in the prisons, in all the prisons, in all the central prisons in Tamil Nadu. Plus we are doing here also in Pennsylvania and Kentucky states. Now, we don't depend on what kind of vibrations are there, what kind of people. Somebody is a hardcore criminal, somebody is a wonderful man. It doesn't matter, because it is applied as a science. Whoever you are, it works the same way. Whatever kind of place it is, we can make it work. It doesn't matter what kind of place we are in.
Mm-hmm. Now going back to the Shunya meditation, or what did you call Shunya Samadhi?
Shunya meditation.
Shunya meditation. So the word Shunya itself suggests some kind of
Shunya means emptiness.
Right. And I just wanted to add, coming from the appreciation of spirituality from a traditional viewpoint, do you make use of some mantras, or what way they are guided?
See, meditation is not something that you do. First of all, the English word meditation doesn't mean anything, first of all.
Right.
Because if you sit with your eyes closed, it's considered meditation. With your eyes closed, you could be doing so many dharana, dhyana, samadhi, pratyahara,
Right.
There are many things you could be doing. So, just sitting with eyes closed doesn't mean anything. People might have just mastered the art of sleeping in vertical postures. So Shunya means it's the art of doing nothing. We're teaching people how to do nothing really. It's a way of creating a space between you and the body. See, it doesn't matter how many teachings go into you, but still life situations will overpower you and overwhelm you as long as you are part of the mind and body. If at all, if any suffering has entered you, the only kind of suffering that you know is, it has either entered you through the body or through the mind. So Shunya is a state where if you sit down, you get disidentified with the process that you refer to as body and the you refer to as mind.
Mm-hmm.
Once you establish this state of not being identified either with the body or mind, once you create a space between you and that, this is the end of suffering. Because all the suffering is either manufactured in your mind or in your body. Once there is a space, there is no such thing as suffering for that person. Shunya means emptiness. Who wants emptiness of all the things in the world? Everybody wants fullness.
Right.
But this needs to be looked at with more depth. Now, in every religion, God is being referred to as all-pervading, isn't it? The only thing that is truly all-pervading is nothingness. Anything that is something has a beginning and an end, both time-wise and space-wise. The only thing that is truly all-pervading is emptiness. It is just that people out of their ignorance are always afraid of emptiness. Emptiness is darkness. Always, I know people have always symbolized divine as light. You can't imagine calling divine darkness.
Right.
Divine light it is always. But the nature of light is so limited. See, even if whatever source of light the light is coming from, whether it is from these lights or from the sunlight, which is the biggest source of light we know right now, With just my palm, drop that light and leave a shadow of darkness behind me, behind that, isn't it? So light is very limited happening. It's a small happening. It's a brief happening in the existence. But darkness is always eternal and all-pervading.
Here, there is a confusion. When people say darkness, they carry certain images with darkness. When you are saying darkness, probably you do not carry similar images.
Why I am saying this is, so people are approaching everything with a certain sense of fear and insecurity. But you tell me, life is a brief happening. Whether it's the light bulb here, it has a certain lifespan. The sun also has a certain lifespan, and all the stars have a certain lifespan. Does darkness have a lifespan? It's eternal, isn't it?
I don't know.
Darkness is eternal, isn't it?
I'm not eternal. I don't know whether darkness is eternal.
No, what I'm saying is, the absence of light is darkness, isn't it?
Absence of light is darkness.
Yes. Light can happen and go. Can darkness go away? If everything goes away, darkness is, isn't it? It is in the lap of that emptiness that creation is happening. Today modern science is proving to you that everything comes from nothing and goes back to nothing. Now your religions have always been saying everything comes from the Creator. The only thing which fits the description of the Creator is darkness and emptiness. But the nature of ignorance is such that darkness means everybody is afraid.
Right.
Because the very reason why they're seeking God is not because they want to know the Creator. They're seeking God because they're afraid of creation. When fear is the basis of what your seeking will never lead to fulfillment. People have become God-fearing, not God-loving, unfortunately. So when a person is on the spiritual path, when we say he is on the spiritual path, he is not seeking because he is afraid of life. He is seeking the divine because he has fallen in love with life. He has fallen in love with the creation. Now he wants to know what is the Creator. He has seen the beauty of creation. Now he wants to know that which should be even more beautiful to create this. So he is looking for the source of creation. He is not looking at it because he is seeking security or shelter. So when he is seeking like that, in yoga, for an ignorant person, we always describe the divine as light. For an advanced yogi, divine is always described as darkness.
And generally speaking, what is it, if you try to define God, you would say?
Why should you define him? Why don't you just say you don't know anything about him?
That's one definition.
See, people are going on giving definitions and forms and names because somewhere you are not sincere enough to admit I don't know. But if you destroy I do not know, you will also destroy all possibilities of knowing. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. If you destroy that, you will destroy all possibilities of knowing.
When you say something, it takes time in sinking, and then coming back to what you just said. You said when you say I don't know, then opens up the possibility of knowing.
Only when you see I don't know, you can genuinely seek, isn't it? If you say I know and you seek, your seeking has no meaning, it's just a pretension.
Right.
When you do not know, only then you can seek.
Just whatever understanding most of us have, including me, about God and about the ways of His working, etc. And when we to be using the words as trying to be one with God, then we always have this this sense of certain peace which is unshakable. You call it light or whatever, or a sense of blissfulness, if you call that happiness or whatever. So when you say emptiness, does that contradict all these things, or that encompasses it?
Emptiness encompasses everything, isn't it?
I don't know.
It is in a vast space of emptiness all these planets and solar systems and galaxies have happened, isn't it? It's in the lap of emptiness that creation is sitting right now, isn't it so? So we are always saying creation is in the lap of the creator. So who is the creator? Absolute emptiness, isn't it? Modern science is proving that today to you, that everything comes from nothing.
So whatever comes from nothing goes to nothing.
Yes.
And everything that has a beginning has an end.
Isn't it so?
Now this statement about beginning and end is applicable for our conversation also. Now listening to you, some people would find there are different fresh viewpoints which one would be able to appreciate by listening to you, and some people would be scared to come and listen to your talks because they would think that maybe you would expose them towards the emptiness which they are denying. What would you say? Why should they come and hear these introductory talks?
Say, if you're seeking true well-being, then you must be open to look at everything the way it is. If you are just a solace seeker, then you just have to tell yourself pretty lies to make yourself feel good, but that's not going to sustain you through life and death. If you want a vehicle that takes you through life, it doesn't matter what kind of situation you come across, it doesn't matter what you face, and if you want a vehicle which takes you beyond this body through death, then you need to look at everything the way it is. If you just want to solace yourself for today, you can tell yourself pretty lies which will help you to sleep well tonight. I am not interested in catering to that. There are enough number of people doing that. This is for a genuine seeker. Now, there may be somebody who comes to the program just because they have a backache, they have a headache, they have asthma, they have some other disease. That is also taken care of: physical health, mental well-being, mental balance, peacefulness, joyfulness, all that is taken care of. Because unless those things are there, people cannot look for anything deeper. If people are not happy, they will not seek anything else but happiness. Whatever they seek, they will be seeking only happiness indirectly. So those things are always taken care of. Now, the question of fear doesn't arise. You are already too attached to something that you believe in. If you are looking, where is fear? Only because there is darkness, the need for turning on the lights came up, isn't it?
Right.
So we always know when we turn on the lights, even if the lights are on, we know it is darkness is always intruding upon this. The moment the light bulb goes off, everything will be darkness. Don't we know this? We are just keeping the darkness out for some time, lights on.
Right.
So, which is a more permanent thing?
I would leave that for our viewers to decide based on your question, and I wouldn't try to answer all these questions. But there are questions, there are many questions, and there are different ways of looking and appreciating ourselves, our lives, and there are immense possibilities of exploring and understanding that which is all-pervading, that which we may call as emptiness, that which we may call as the ultimate security, if we want to call that. Refreshing and stimulating experience talking to Sadhguru, Jaggi, Vasudeva. And before we say goodbye from this program, I would like to remind you that today you can go to his introductory talk at 7:30 p.m. Atmananda Yoga and Holistic Center, and tomorrow in Flushing Ganesh Temple at 7 p.m. he would be delivering the introductory talk. And as we were flashing the website and phone numbers, so if you want to get more details, you can definitely check that website or call these numbers which were being flashed. And with all these informations, one more time, I would take this opportunity of thanking you for being with us, Sadhguru ji, and all the best, and may you continue to do the work that you are proceeding with. Thank you very much for being with us.